Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video with King's Maths Help. So this time we're going to be doing simultaneous equations, and this is the first video of two. So if we have these two simultaneous equations here, 4x plus 5y equals 23 and 2x plus 4y equals 16, these values for x are the same and the values for y are the same. Now, in one equation here, so if we had this equation here in isolation, then it would be impossible to work out x and y because there are lots of different possibilities for these two numbers. But when you have two equations here and you solve them at the same time, you can work out the correct answers for x and y, of which there will be only one. So the first thing we need to do is to ensure that the coefficients, so the numbers before the x or the y's, are the same in both equations here. So we can see this is 4 before the x, and this is 2 before the x, and this is 5 and 4. So what we're going to do is multiply this whole equation here by 2. So times the whole thing by 2. That way, the coefficient, so the number before x in this equation, will be the same as in the first equation. So now if I change the color and rewrite this equation out below, so timesing everything by 2 to make 4x plus 8y equals 32. Now, just for ease, I'll rewrite the first one out below it as well. But this hasn't changed. So now I've got essentially the same equations because this has just been doubled, but this time they've got the same coefficients before the x. So this is really important because now we need to subtract one equation away from the other. So it doesn't matter which way you do this, but I can tell just by looking at this that if we do this equation here, subtract this equation here, then we'll get positive answers. So 8y minus 5y gives us 3y, and 32 minus 23 is 9, and 4x minus 4x here is 0. So this is the whole reason why we ensure that the coefficients before either the x's or the y's, I could have done either, are the same, because then this leaves us with only one variable here. And now we can see that 3y equals 9, y therefore is 3. So that's the hard part done. We've worked out that y is always 3. So now I'll just change color again. We'll go back into blue. So now we know that y is 3. All we do is look at either this equation here or this equation here, any of the two original ones, and we substitute in y as 3. So I'll take the second one because the numbers are a bit smaller, makes it a bit easier. Now if I rewrite this out as 2x plus 4y when y is 3, 4 times 3 is 12 equals 16. Now I've only got one variable, so this can be solved. So I'll subtract 12 from both sides, giving 2x equals 4. Therefore, x equals 2. So the solutions to this is x equals 2 and y equals 3. Now then, I'm going to do another example that is a little bit harder, and you'll see why. You see why it's a little bit harder. Now, sorry, this is taking me a moment to clear. So this is called simultaneous equations solved by elimination. The next video will be on solving by substitution. So now for the second equations, we've got 2x minus 4y equals 6, and 5x plus 3y equals 28. Now, the only difference here is that we can't just multiply one of them to get the coefficients the same as the other, because you can see that 2 doesn't multiply fully into 5 and 3 and minus 4. It doesn't really work. So what we're going to have to do is multiply both equations by something to get a common coefficient. So it just so happens that before x is easiest again, we've got 2x here and 5x here. So what I'm going to do now is multiply this by 5 and then multiply this by 2. This is because I want the coefficients before x to be the exact same, as I said. So in this case, they'll both be 10. So now if I rewrite this one out, we're going to get 10x minus 20y equals 30. Now I'll rewrite this one out as 10x, which is important, plus 6y equals 56. Now, I'll just reiterate that the reason we get the coefficients the same is because when we subtract one from the other, these cancel out to 0, leaving us with only the y's. Now then, this time, just to make things easier, we will do this one here. So the second equation, subtract the first one. So I'll change color for this to make it easier. So now if we do, so this, this 10x minus this 10x gives us 0. Now 6y minus 20. So because we are subtracting this from this, we've got two minuses. So 6 minus 20 is the same as 6 plus 20, which leaves us with 26y. And 56 minus 30 is 26. So 26y equals 26, therefore y equals 1. Now, as I said before, we've done the hard part. So now all we do is we've got y equals 1. We substitute it into either one of these two, whichever one's easiest, to get the other value for x. So I think this one's probably easiest. So just over here, I'll write out 2x, because we still don't know x, minus 4 times 1 minus 4 equals 6. Now then, to solve for x, I'm just going to add 4 to both sides. 2x equals 10. Therefore, x equals 5. So the answers to this, x equals 5 and y equals 1. Thank you.